shattering the illusion of powerlessness doesn't begin with something we learn. It begins with something we unlearn. From the time we're born, we're handed a version of reality built by other people's fears, expectations, and limitations. We're taught that life is outside of us, that we must chase success, love, security, that these are rewards granted by the world if we prove worthy enough. But what if the very act of chasing is a distraction from the truth? What if we were never meant to chase, but to remember? The idea that we are small, helpless, and subject to the chaos of an indifferent universe is not only false, it's harmful. It disconnects us from the very source of our power, the awareness that we are not just in the world, but of it. You are not separate from the ocean in which you swim. You are the water. And the moment you begin to question the stories you've inherited is the moment a crack forms in the illusion. Think about it. How many times have you felt something before it happened? How many times has your intuition whispered something your logic couldn't explain? These aren't flukes. These are the whispers of a deeper truth, echoes from the field of intelligence that permeates everything. The quantum field isn't some abstract concept buried in scientific jargon. It's the invisible web that connects all life, all possibilities, all timelines. And you, whether you realize it or not, are connected to it right now. This is not magic. This is not religion. This is resonance. And resonance responds to one thing: frequency. The frequency of your thoughts, the tone of your emotions, the charge of your beliefs, these are not invisible wastes. They are signals. Signals that tell the field what to organize around you. If you carry a frequency of fear, the field doesn't punish you, it mirrors you. If you emit love, clarity, and trust, the field echoes that back. The field isn't moral, it's responsive, like a mirror that reflects what you believe most strongly, especially what you believe about yourself. And yet, so many of us live from the outside in. We wait for life to change before we do. We wait for peace to come before we release anxiety. We wait for love to arrive before we open our hearts. We've been taught to reverse the order of reality. But what if peace doesn't come after you feel safe? What if it arrives because you decide to feel safe now? What if love doesn't come to fill a hole, but flows from the place in you that no longer believes in your own lack? This is the shift. From waiting to remembering. From seeking to choosing. You don't have to earn your worth. You don't have to prove your power. You just have to stop abandoning it. There's a part of you that already knows this. The part that gets quiet in nature. The part that aches when you ignore your own truth. The part that senses the vastness of your being, even when your circumstances don't reflect it yet. Where in your life are you still chasing something you don't believe you deserve? This is where the healing begins. Not by fixing yourself, but by coming home to yourself. By recognizing that the only thing you've ever been missing is the belief that you were ever missing anything at all. The quantum field, though it may sound like a term reserved for physicists in lab coats, is anything but exclusive. It is the realm of pure potential, a sea of probabilities waiting to collapse into form based on what we expect, feel, and believe. To the average person, that sounds mystical, but really, it's quite natural. Because if the universe is made of energy, and it is, then it means everything from your body to your beliefs emits frequency. And that frequency is constantly interacting with the field. Let's make this simple. Imagine you are a radio tower, constantly broadcasting your internal state, your fears, your hopes, your longings, into the invisible ether. The quantum field is not listening like a person listens. It doesn't have ears or judgment. It simply responds, not to what you say you want, but to what you are. If you're saying, "I want abundance," while vibrating with anxiety, lack, or unworthiness, the field responds to the signal, not the sentence. It's not personal. It's energetic. That's why alignment matters more than effort. You can try your hardest to push through, hustle, overthink, and overdo, But if your energy is still wrapped in fear, the field reflects that confusion. That's not a punishment. That's clarity. The field's neutrality is your liberation, because it means the moment you shift your signal, the moment you feel different, think differently, believe something new, you've changed the way reality can form around you. It's why two people can be in the same situation and experience completely different outcomes. One person walks through life seeing scarcity, betrayal, and struggle. Another, facing the same circumstances, sees opportunity, trust, and growth. The field didn't choose favorites, it mirrored the lens. That's quantum truth. You don't experience reality as it is, you experience it as you are. This isn't just abstract philosophy, it's being confirmed in the language of modern physics. The double-slit experiment, quantum entanglement, wave-particle duality, all point to the same startling realization. The observer influences the observed. Consciousness collapses the wave into matter, meaning what you expect and perceive affects how reality takes shape. You aren't here to react to the world, you're here to co-create it. But don't be mistaken, co-creation isn't control. It's communion. You're not meant to manipulate the field with willpower. You're meant to align with it through intention and presence. The field doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be authentic. The clearest signal comes not from pretending to be positive, but from being emotionally honest and energetically congruent. If you're grieving, grieve. If you're angry, be with the anger. But let it move. Let it teach you. Let it open you to what wants to emerge underneath the emotion. Think about your own life. Can you recall a time when things just started falling into place, when you let go of control? A moment when synchronicities appeared? The moment you stopped striving? That wasn't coincidence, that was coherence. That was your frequency finally tuning to the language the field understands. Surrender rooted in self-trust. So ask yourself, are you projecting energy that says, I already am? Or one that screams, I'm not enough? Because the field doesn't argue, it reflects. And the moment you realize that your energy is the conversation you're always having with the universe, you'll stop trying so hard to be heard and instead start listening. If your energy is a language, then your life is the translation. Every conversation you have, every opportunity that opens or doesn't, is reflecting back some inner broadcast you've been emitting. That may feel frustrating at first, but it's also the key to freedom. Because the outside world is not judging you, it's showing you. What you attract is not a verdict, it's a mirror. We've all been there. The job that keeps slipping through our fingers. The partner who pulls away just as things get close. The same patterns repeating in new costumes. And when that happens, we tend to blame the circumstances. It's just bad luck. People can't be trusted. It always turns out this way. But what if these patterns aren't punishments? They're prompts. Invitations to look inward and ask, what am I still believing that's creating this? You are not a victim of random outcomes. You are a creator operating on autopilot. And the autopilot is set by what you believe to be true about yourself, about love, about money, about what's possible. If you've inherited the belief that success must be earned through suffering, guess what? Your path will unconsciously bend towards struggle. If deep down you feel unworthy of being seen, you may subconsciously dim your light in every room you enter. Not because you're weak, but because your inner world is tuned to a frequency of invisibility. And the quantum field? It simply responds in kind. Here's where things shift. You can't just change your life by changing your habits. You must change your identity. Not in the sense of becoming someone else, but in the sense of remembering who you were before the conditioning. The true self isn't built, it's uncovered. And the moment you begin living from that remembered self, your life begins to reorganize. This is the deep work. This is the healing. When you see that you were never broken, only buried. The fear, the shame, the doubt, they are all layers on top of a brilliant, radiant core that has been whispering all along, there's more than this. Ask yourself, in what areas of your life are you still trying to earn what you already are? Where are you outsourcing your peace to external validation? Because until you reclaim your inner authority, life will keep handing you opportunities to do so through challenge. Let me give you a real-life example. A woman I once worked with had spent years attracting partners who were emotionally unavailable. On the surface, she was loving, giving, even spiritual. But when we dug deeper, we discovered a hidden belief. If I'm perfect, they'll finally stay. That belief was rooted in childhood wounds, where love was conditional. So guess what she kept manifesting? People who required her to prove her worth. The field mirrored her signal, not her wishes. When she finally chose to believe, I am worthy just as I am, her energy shifted. She didn't just attract a new kind of partner, she became someone who could receive love without fear. This is not about blame, it's about awareness. The field does not shame you, it simply mirrors what you believe to be true. And in that realization lies immense freedom, because once you see it, you can shift it. You can consciously begin to transmit new energy, new stories, new self-concepts, and the field, without delay, will begin to arrange itself in response. So what if you stopped chasing outcomes and started sculpting inner states? What if instead of asking, when will it happen, you asked, who am I being while I wait? That's where manifestation truly begins. In the now, in the knowing, in the unshakable awareness that you are not here to attract things to feel whole. You are here to feel whole, so you naturally attract what matches your truth. Once we begin to accept that energy is the language of the universe, the next step becomes obvious. We must learn how to tune it. But this isn't about controlling every thought or forcing yourself into a constant state of bliss. True tuning is not about perfection, it's about permission. Permission to feel, to release, and to realign. Because healing is not about becoming better, it's about becoming real. The stories we carry, the ones that say I'm not enough, I'll always be abandoned, nothing ever lasts, are not permanent. They're programmed frequencies, loops of emotional energy encoded into our nervous systems through repetition and pain. And just like a song stuck on repeat, they can be changed. But not through willpower, through awareness, through stillness, through gentle attention to the places we've learned to neglect. Your energy shifts the moment you stop trying to get rid of the pain and start being with it. Sit with the fear. Hold the grief. Let the anger speak. Energy wants to move, it only gets stuck when we suppress it. When you begin to feel fully, you begin to heal naturally. Like water that flows when the dam is lifted, your energy becomes clearer, lighter, and more coherent. And in that coherence, manifestation happens. Not as a desperate grasp for outcomes, but as an effortless reflection of your new state. You don't have to visualize for hours to get what you want. You just have to become the version of you that already feels worthy of it. And this begins not by adding more to yourself, but by letting go of what you're not. Let me offer a simple metaphor. Your body is like an instrument. When it's in tune, even the lightest touch creates beautiful sound. But when it's misaligned, tense, stressed, filled with noise, it screeches. Tuning your energy isn't about playing louder. It's about returning to harmony. And harmony begins with space, spaciousness in your mind, openness in your heart, slowness in your breath. These are not luxuries, they're practices. They are how you reconnect to the intelligence within you and around you. A man once told me, I've done everything right. I've meditated, I've journaled, I've affirmed, but nothing changes. And I asked him, are you doing those things to change who you are or to meet who you already are? There was a silence, then a tear. Because he realized he was using even the tools of healing as weapons of self-rejection. Tuning your energy isn't about fixing yourself. It's about meeting yourself fully. This is why surrender is not weakness. It is the highest form of energetic clarity. To surrender is not to give up. It is to say, I trust the intelligence of this field more than the fear of my ego. That level of trust sends a signal of coherence so pure that the field can't help but respond. Not because you manipulated it, but because you joined it. So where are you still trying to earn what is already yours? What emotion are you still resisting, thinking it will swallow you whole, when in truth it only wants to release you? Healing through energy doesn't mean being high vibe all the time. It means learning to be in right relationship with all your states. To meet each one with presence and patience. To understand that your power is not in how you perform, but in how you allow. Because when you stop resisting who you are, you return to who you've always been. And now we arrive at the edge of the old self. The version of you that tried to manifest from lack, that tried to fix itself into worthiness, that believed alignment was a reward instead of a remembrance. This is where you stop being the seeker and start being the source. Not in arrogance, but in awe. Because you are not just someone learning about the quantum field. You are it. You are the extension of intelligence folding itself into human experience for the purpose of remembering. To live in this awareness is to become the field, to embody the frequency, not just visualize it, to let go of trying to manifest something and instead become someone who no longer needs to chase. When you live from the place of wholeness, of deep presence, of enoughness, you realize that what you used to want begins to want you. There's a sacred stillness in that shift. No longer reaching, just radiating. No longer proving, just being. The paradox of manifestation is this: you only receive what you no longer need to possess. Not because you've stopped caring, but because you've stopped contracting. Your energy has opened, and that openness makes space for miracles to move through. So how do you live as the field? You wake up each day and ask not, what do I want to get, but what do I choose to embody? You drop into your body. You breathe with your being. You make peace your default, not your destination. You stop waiting for the external world to grant you permission, and you begin responding to the inner world that's already whole. And when triggers come, as they will, you bless them. You see them not as regressions, but as revelations. Each emotional wave is an opportunity to tune again, to anchor again, to become more coherent. This is the practice, not one of arrival, but of devotion. You're not here to control every outcome. You're here to live so fully aligned that outcomes naturally align with you. There's a profound relief in surrendering your identity as a fixer, a chaser, a hustler, and instead becoming a presence that invites. When you are no longer desperately pulling reality toward you, reality flows to meet you where you are. Not because you earned it, but because you matched it. And perhaps that's the deepest truth of the quantum field. It is not outside of you. It is made of the same essence as your soul. Every moment you feel love, gratitude, awe, or peace, you dissolve the illusion of separation and return to the knowing. I am not a drop in the ocean. I am the ocean, in a drop. So ask yourself now, what does my life look like when I stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing myself? What would it feel like to live, every day, as if the miracle already happened and I am the proof? You are the portal. You are the field. You are the frequency that writes reality into being. Live it. Choose it. Be it. If you've come this far, something inside you is already shifting. You've remembered, perhaps just for a moment, that you are not here to chase life, but to co-create it. The quantum field isn't waiting for you to become someone else. It's waiting for you to recognize who you've always been, a being of energy, frequency, and infinite potential. Healing through energy is not a destination, it's a way of being. It's the courage to be still when the world demands motion. It's the willingness to believe in alignment more than force, resonance more than resistance. And most of all, it's the commitment to live each day as if your presence is the most powerful force in the room. Because it is. So breathe, return, reclaim your light, Let this be the beginning of a life led not by reaction but by conscious embodiment. Wherever you go next, may you go as the field, not the follower. If this spoke to your heart, leave a comment and share your reflections. Subscribe for more writing that meets you where you are and helps you return to where you belong.